Hi, you're listening to Two Dumb Babies, an animated current events podcast by two comedians who only read headlines. This week, Two Dumb Babies talk about sports being canceled. What's the over-under on you finding a new hobby?
Sports have been canceled, but that doesn't change anything for you, you fat piece of shit.
At least they canceled your kids' sports too, so you don't have to disappoint them when you don't show up again.
Sports being canceled hasn't mattered at all for you since you got that girl pregnant in the parking lot outside your football game.
Sports being canceled is very difficult for people who had their whole identity riding on it.
It's always the dude who has a family, but his screensaver is his favorite sports team.
This is the Bengals' new uniform.
Didn't your son just have a birthday?
I don't know, probably.
Jim was always the sports guy of our friend group. Now he's just the drunk guy that swears at his wife in the Zoom chat.
Yeah, now instead of just hearing about your friend's domestic abuse, you can see it live on Zoom.
You're like, oh, this is your fault. Your relationship sucks because of you. It's not your wife.
It's so much harder to lie to your friends about what's going on in your household when they're watching you in your household.
Exactly. You can't be like, oh, my wife's such a bitch. You're like, actually, you're a monster. That's the problem. You're a horrible person who only cares about sports for some reason. Who only cares about the achievements of men greater than you. I made a documentary about Michael Jordan because there aren't any current sports going on right now.
Documentaries are just propaganda for the past.
If you want to make me wish I was alive in the 80s, why don't you give me some of that pure cocaine you guys had?
Before your president turned it into crack.
It's the perfect time to pretend that basketball was better back in the day.
It's basically old people going, our basketball player was better because we didn't have cell phones.
Basketball wasn't better. It was just fun to watch real athletes dunk on guys that look like bank managers.
Yeah, you don't see that anymore.
You know why the bad boy Pistons were the bad boy Pistons? Because half that team had real jobs as cops. It's bad boys Pistons.
What you gonna do? Kick them off the dream team.
Yeah, don't let them on the dream team. I have never heard anything good about Michael Jordan in my entire life besides that he's good at basketball.
I know that he killed his dad and he hates kids so much that he enslaves them to make his shoes.
I hear he handpicks them out of different villages. I don't know where I heard that, but I think it's real.
Dude, he even tried to reclaim the Hitler mustache.
Which means you can safely say anyone who likes Michael Jordan more than LeBron is a Nazi. Be like, hey, it was a different, the 86 Bulls. Shut up, Nazi. Go back to Nazi Germany, you fucking Nazi. Why don't you go suck off Michael Jordan and Hitler? Is that what Nazis do? I don't know what Nazis do.
Just because you like his shoes doesn't make him the best basketball player ever.
Yeah, that's like saying Daniel Vans is the best skateboarder ever. Like, probably not.
I like that you just went for it on the first name.
I have no idea, man. UFC fights aren't even happening. That's just two people beating the fuck out of each other.
Like, we don't want your lungs collapsing from a disease. Collapsed lungs are only acceptable from body kicks and right hooks.
I think they stopped the UFC fights because they don't want fighters bleeding into each other's eyes like they usually do.
Fighting would be the easiest sport to pass a disease in, because no other sport are you trying to get your hands as close to your opponent's mouth as possible.
Plus all the open mouth kissing. Sorry, I'm thinking of something else. This year's NFL draft was the most watched draft since Vietnam.
And just like in Vietnam, everyone drafted this year wishes they were born in a different year.
People haven't cared this much about an auction of people since before the Civil War.
Black players drafted had the funniest stats on ESPN.
Yeah, they were all like, ran a 4.2 40, completed 5,000 yards passing in his college career, and then the last one is like, mom smoked crack. Like, how is that a stat?
How does that impact you on the field?
Yeah, he's really tenacious. He's a really hungry player, as in he's always looking for food.
Like, there's a difference between having stats and being a statistic. The Olympics are postponed. Now where are all these gorgeous 19-year-olds going to fuck each other?
Can you imagine training your whole life for some stupid sport nobody cares about just for the chance to suplex some French high jumper in the pussy at the Olympic Village one day, and then the plague comes and ruins it?
The Olympics isn't about athleticism. It's about nationalism, gambling, and letting the best athletes in the world fuck so the human race becomes stronger.
Nobody cares about the 600-meter dash.
The best triple jumper in history probably coaches high school track now. You're there to bag some superhuman baguette pussy.
Let's just put them all in a room, call it Tokyo, and watch them screw. It's what the Greeks would have wanted.
Yeah, you ever seen Greece? Even the statues of people doing sports are erotic.
This is the Olympics they meant. The events are just for us. The real Olympics is what happens at night in the Olympic Village. And we're missing it.
We're missing it.
Watch, 2022 is going to be the weakest generation of people since 1930.
NASCAR driver Carl Larson got in trouble for saying that... Kyle, whoops. NASCAR driver...
Show some respect to Kyle Larson.
He is an American hero.
You know how hard it is to say the N-word on the internet? Oh, not at all.
You know how hard it is to do during a peak athletic event? NASCAR driver Carl Larson... Fuck. All right, I got it. NASCAR driver Kyle Larson got in trouble for saying the N-word during a virtual race.
Get with the times. Say something offensive to Chinese people.
Oh, virtual race. I thought you said virtual racism.
That's actually what the N in NASCAR stands for.
NASCAR does also end with a hard R.
NASCAR is doing virtual races now. You don't need professional drivers to play video games, NASCAR. I don't know if you know that.
The NASCAR games suck, though, so they're just playing Twisted Metal and Madden.
I love imagining Kyle Larson playing Twisted Metal, screaming the N-word when he gets killed.
Also, NASCAR's the only sport you can social distance while still competing.
They just know if you start driving something really fast, a bunch of rednecks will gather and get drunk. It's for the fans.
Yes.
You can't stop a bunch of rednecks cheering at an engine.
At least the MLB doesn't have to worry about any teams cheating this year.
I feel bad for all the pitchers in baseball who won't get a chance to hit Astros players in the teeth this season.
Remember when cheating in baseball meant drugs and gambling?
Barry Bonds looked like 50 Cent. Baseball used to be so cool.
That's when it was actually America's pastime. Gambling is what makes people care about sports.
From Michael Jordan to your uncle that mysteriously disappeared a few years ago, gambling is what makes the sports world go round.
Do you think the Cleveland Browns would still exist if the people of Cleveland didn't love to gamble their child support money away?
The fact that Las Vegas, the fake city in the desert, is getting a professional sports team shows that the Mafia is doing just fine.
Throwing games is going to make a big comeback.
Yeah. I'm personally happy I don't have to hear about pointless sports stats all the time.
Now, if we could just figure out how to cancel astrology.
If you miss sports so much, remember you can still do the other half of that, and that's drinking.
Yeah, you can still drink and yell at the TV.
Watch Ozark and treat it like it's sports.
You can still watch esports.
Yeah, watch kids play video games. That's kind of like, it's not. It's nothing like sports. I can't even do it sarcastically and pretend it's like sports. It's so much different than sports. Hey, tune in next week where Eric will say the N-word on our virtual race. Check it out next week. Eric's going to say the N-word just like Kyle Lowry. No, not Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry's a basketball player. He can say the N-word. Kyle Larson can't say the N-word.
Can't is wrong because he did say it.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't supposed to. All right, but yeah, next week, Eric saying the N-word. We'll see you then.
Bye. Thank you guys for listening. You can follow the show at Two Dumb Babies on all social media. You can follow Eric at Eric J. Freedman and Willie at William F. Salmon. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we drop the animated episodes, behind the scenes, and additional content. New episodes drop every Monday. Please subscribe, rate, and leave a comment on the podcast. We'll see you all on another episode of Two Dumb Babies. Bye-bye, dummies.